If you want to be a successful investor, learn. Do not listen to other people. I know it's going to be longer than normal. The debt is very, very high. Well, if it's the worst bear market in 80 years, it's probably going to last longer, but it's going to take longer this time than normal. They're forming a bubble, yes. There are a few stocks in the U.S., 7 or 8, which should always go up, and that's usually a sign of a bubble. If they're not a bubble yet, they will be soon.
Hello?
Hello? I can hear you. Hello. Can you see me?
Yes.
Okay, let's start.
부채 증가로 80년 만에 최악의 약세장을 말씀하셨는데요. 우리 모두 지난 80년 동안 이미 경기침체를 경험하지 않았습니까? 그럼에도 이번에 찾아올 약세장을 유독 강조하시는 이유가 무엇일까요?
We have bear markets every few years. We always have throughout history. In 2008, we had a problem because of too much debt. Well, Jim, since 2008, the debt everywhere has skyrocketed. We have gigantic debt all over the world now, like we have never had in history. The next bear market has to be very, very bad because so much more debt.
경기 침체가 온다면 어느 강도로 얼마나 지속될 것이라고 보고 계시나요?
I don't know. I know it's going to be longer than normal. Normally in the US, when we have a bear market that lasts a year or two, I would suspect the next time will be at least 2 or 3 years, maybe longer. The debt is very, very high, like never in history.
그렇다면 미국을 중심으로 한 경기 침체는 피할 수 없을까요?
The U.S. is the largest economy in the world, the largest stock market in the world. So I don't know how, if the U.S. has a problem, the rest of the world can avoid a problem. We are all interconnected, as you know, Jim. So in the future, whatever happens in the U.S. and other countries is going to affect all of us.
증시 약세장과 높은 금리에 대비하라고 말씀하셨는데 어떻게 대비해야 할까요?
People should only invest in what they themselves know a lot about. Don't listen to people on the internet or people on the TV. If you want to succeed, you must invest in what you yourself know a lot about, not other people. If I told you to buy something and it went up, you would not know what to do because you don't know why you bought it. If it went down, you would not know what to do because you don't know why you bought it. I have a lot of cash at the moment. Stocks in most parts of the world have been a bubble. Bonds have never been this high. It's a big bubble. Property, as you know, in many places, Korea, New Zealand, many places have been in a bubble. So nearly everything has been very expensive, gotten very expensive, been very strong for several years now, the longest in American history. The only thing I know that's not a bubble are commodities. I mean, sugar is down over 50% from its all-time high. Silver is down over 50% from its all-time high.
향후 금리에 대한 전망은 어떻게 보고 계시나요? 그리고 현재 연준 의장들의 행보는 어떻게 생각하시는지 궁금합니다.
In the last time we had serious inflation was the 70s, and in 1980, interest rates on short-term treasury bills in the U.S. was 21%. That is not a typo. Interest rates had to go very, very high. I'm afraid that interest rates will go very, very high before this is over because the inflation is so bad. So much money has been printed. So it's going to take a lot to solve the problem this time. The Federal Reserve Chairman in the U.S. Does not seem to know what he's doing. He is the one who printed all the money. He is the one that took interest rates extremely low. He keeps saying that this is temporary. It's not temporary. I don't know if he's saying that because he has to be a politician. So I am not very impressed with the Federal Reserve Chairman in the U.S. He has led us he has led us into many problems.
What do you think the Fed should focus on in monetary policy?
Well, they should stop printing money. They should let interest rates go to their natural level. They should not try to tell people what interest rates are and make them so low. Stop printing money and let the market decide on the interest rates. The market is smarter than they are.
한국은 미국과의 금리 격차를 줄이기 위해서 노력하고 있습니다. 현재 한국 경제 상황은 어떻다고 진단하시나요?
Korea has some very large trading neighbors, China and the United States. What happens in the US and what happens in China is extremely important to Korea. Your economy has many regulations and controls, which is bad for South Korea. I hope that you will get rid of a lot of those controls and regulations. I know people who tell me that it's easier to do business in China than in South Korea. So I know that South Korea needs to open up more and more. It needs to have fewer regulations and controls. It needs to have an open economy and an open society. I hope you will do it. I like South Korea now, so I hope you will continue to change.
What do you think Korea's only solution to overcome this economic downturn?
Korea trades a lot with China and a lot with the US, so you're not so independent because of your customers. What you need to do, as I say, is to open your economy. Get your debt down. You should have low debt if you can, because when we have problems, people with debt will suffer. And I don't know how South Korea can avoid what happens in the US and what happens in China. The only thing I can suggest is keep your debt low and get rid of all the regulations and controls in South Korea.
Recently, there have been signs of recovery in US and China relations. What do you think the relationship between the two countries?
Unfortunately, whenever you have two major powers in the world, and this has always happened in history, they have conflict, they have strife. It is happening again. In recent days, China and America seem to be trying to be friendly again. I hope so. It is not good for the world or for China or for America to have conflict. So I can only say we all hope that things continue to get better. It usually in history does not get better, but let's hope it does this time.
What do you think the position Korea should take now and the direction it should move forward?
If I were the president of Korea, I would send the American troops home. You're occupied by a foreign army. There are 30,000 American troops there. That means America tells you what to do. If I were South Korea, I would say, goodbye, go home, American troops. We have been here a few thousand years. We've had good times and bad times, but we can take care of ourselves. So I would send the American troops home. It only leads to more problems for you, and you have a foreign army telling you what to do.
이제 주식 이야기로 넘어가 볼까 합니다. 80년 만에 최악의 약세장이 온다면 언제 다시 시장이 회복할 수 있을까요?
Well, if it's the worst bear market in 80 years, it's probably going to last longer. I would say 2, 3, 4 years. Eventually, things will recover, but it's going to take longer this time than normal because the debt is so very, very high everywhere in the world. The world has never had debt like we have now.
그렇다면 현재 주식을 많이 보유하고 있는 투자자들은 매도를 하는 것이 좋을지 아니면 추가적으로 매수하는 거는 추천하시지 않는지도 궁금한데요.
I am not buying shares in many countries now because we've had a long period of rising stock prices nearly everywhere. So I am waiting. I bought some shares in Uzbekistan, but that's not very significant. I am looking for cheap shares, but they are harder and harder to find because we've had such a long bull market, a long good market.
If so, what form of assets you currently hoard, such as stocks, cash, or something?
Well, I own cash. I own mainly US dollars for my cash. I own a few other currencies, but mainly US dollars. I own a few shares, but not very many. I am looking for things that are cheap now. They are hard to find. Agriculture is cheap.
그렇다면 AI 시장에서 엔비디아 같은 종목들에도 거품이 껴있다고 생각하시나요?
They are forming a bubble, yes. There are a few stocks in the US, 7 or 8, which should always go up, and that's usually a sign of a bubble. If they're not a bubble yet, they will be soon.
올해 상반기 한국 주식시장은 2차 전지와 반도체 등이 코스닥 코스피 시장을 이끌었다고 해도 과언이 아닌데요. 이 분야들이 계속해서 한국의 주력산업이 될 거라고 보시나요?
You should ask the government, because whatever the government does will certainly have a major effect on your stock market. What China does and what the US does will also have a major effect. But normally, when at this stage of a bull market, the things that have been the leaders continue to be the leaders until the bear market comes. I don't know what will happen in South Korea, but normally, when you have a beginning market like we're having now, the things that have been the strong stocks continue to be the strongest stocks.
There are any industries worth investing in for the near future?
Well, not for the near future, but, you know, as Korea opens up, and especially if you open the DMZ, Korean tourism and travel will be, and entertainment will be in a very exciting area of the Korean economy. Korea has never been on the world tourism map for many reasons that you probably know, but once the DMZ is open, Korea is going to be a very exciting and popular tourist destination because people don't go to Korea. And so it will be something new and exciting for many world travelers. So anything to do with tourism, travel, entertainment, people should start learning about, because when the DMZ opens, Korea is going to be extremely exciting.
그럼 이제 한국 사람들이 가장 좋아하는 부동산 이야기를 좀 해보겠습니다. 현재 미국에서 상업용 부동산 위기가 닥치고 있다는 얘기가 많은데요. 구체적으로 어떤가요?
Real estate in many countries has been very popular because interest rates have been the lowest in history. Interest rates have never been this low, so that has helped real estate. But interest rates will be going higher again. So if you're interested in real estate, be very, very careful. Because when interest rates go up, it's going to hurt real estate everywhere. Maybe it won't hurt you because you don't have a lot of debt, but your friends, your neighbors, other people have debt. So property, real estate is going to suffer when interest rates go higher again. Be careful. Be very careful.
한국은 유독 부동산에 대한 관심이 높은 나라입니다. 미국의 부동산 위기가 한국에도 영향을 끼칠 것으로 보시는지요?
Well, the U.S. economy, not directly, but the U.S. economy, if it has problems, that means trade with Korea will suffer. And so it will have an indirect effect on Korean property. But it's the world interest rates which will go higher too, and that will also have an effect on Korea property. Korea property has been extremely strong, as you know. Korea property may have been in a bubble. So I would be worried. I would be very careful about South Korean property.
그렇다면 부동산 침체로 가장 우려되는 것은 무엇인지, 그리고 그 이유 말씀해 주시면 좋을 것 같습니다.
Well, partly because it's been so strong, it's been a bubble. Anything that has been very, very strong or a bubble eventually goes the other way. Nothing goes up forever. And especially if interest rates go higher, you know, you've had a bubble, that always ends, and now interest rates will be going higher. That has always been bad for property everywhere in the world. I mean, the only thing that might save it would be if you open the 38th parallel, if there's peace, in the Korean Peninsula, but I don't know when that will happen.
부동산은 다른 자산들과 달리 필수제라는 생각을 하고 있습니다. 회장님은 개인들이 부동산을 꼭 소유해야 한다고 생각하시는지 아니면 렌트를 해서 살아도 괜찮다고 생각하시는지 궁금한데요.
Well, you should only invest in what you know a lot about. If you know a lot about property, about real estate, and you can, real estate depends on location and price. If you can, and quality, if you can find something that's cheap in a good location, that's good quality, of course you should buy it. But be very careful because most real estate in Korea, South Korea, has been very strong for several years. Just be careful. But if you find the right thing, you should invest.
끝으로 소감과 성공적인 투자를 위한 조언을 해주시면 좋을 것 같습니다.
You should always learn. But if you want to be successful, only invest in what you yourself know a lot about. It is extremely important. I will say it many times. Do not listen to other people. Only invest in what you yourself know a lot about. Do not. Hot tips. Many people want a hot tip, but hot tips will ruin you. Stay with what you know. Now, you might say that's boring. Be boring. If you want to be a successful investor, be boring and watch Korea Story.